that's why I'm coming in front of the camera right now to show you with my own face how fucking bad it is. I mean, Simon's Quest, you heard the sincerity in my voice. You now see the sincerity in my eyes. This game is fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible.
Enough volume that's what you guys are going to get in trouble.
You think I care?
I do, because I don't want to hear it.
I'm not turning it off.
It's like Pong is better. Pong is only like 3 lines in a ball. These little Tiger, like electronic wrist games, those are better than Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It makes no fucking sense. It's like, what were they thinking? Like, I seriously can't believe how bad that fucking game is. It's so bad that I'm not even going to show it to you because it's just.
Hey, get back on it now. Now what'd you do? Yeah.
When you told me to get off of it, so I got off of it.
Well, at least turn it down so your paw can't hear it. So your brother can, but your paw can't. Find something your brother will watch that he won't get in trouble for.
I don't think this guy cussed. I don't remember though. I can't wait till we get our own
World
house.
Championship Wrestling is a name that, for years, encapsulated what it meant to be the big leagues of professional wrestling. WCW not only challenged the WWF for pro wrestling supremacy, it straight up buried the McMahon-run organization in the ratings for 83 weeks in a row, spanning from 1996 to 1998. Some of the biggest stars in the industry spent large portions of their career in WCW. You might recognize names like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Sting, Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, and Bret Hart, just to name a few. Back in the 90s, WCW meant more than big names and championship belts. For some of us, it was a way of life. As an elementary school kid in the 90s, you had two choices. You were either loyal to the WWF and DX, or to WCW and the NWO. You'd represent your side every day in the hallways through your choice in t-shirts, folders, gym shoes, whatever.
Whenever you watched both though back then as a kid.
We'd argue over fantasy matchups like Stone Cold versus Goldberg, The Undertaker versus Sting, DX versus the NWO, and more. On most days, there were more WWF supporters than WCW, but that never deterred someone like me, not for 1 second. There was one area in particular, though, where the WWF versus WCW war would come to a head. The breaking point of the playground was this: who had the better video games? And that's where this documentary really gets going, fans. We're not here to talk about the history of World Championship Wrestling. We're here to talk about the history of WCW video games. There have been highs taller than Sting in the Rafters, and there have been lows duller than the Shockmaster's big reveal. We're going to cover the entire gamut, from the NES all the way up to the N64 and PlayStation. Our story begins on December 9th, 1989, which is coincidentally my birthday. Well, December 9th is my birthday. I was born 1 year later in 1990, but that's not the point. The point is, on that fateful December day, Superstar Pro Wrestling released. I know what you're thinking.
Superstar Pro Wrestling? What does that have to do with WCW?
It has everything to do with WCW, actually. You see, Superstar Pro Wrestling was developed by Neon Busan and published by Pony Canyon. The game was exclusive to Japan and featured wrestling stars like Stan Hansen, Antonio Inoki, and others. It looks like this.
Superstar Pro Wrestling!
4 months later, in April of 1990, WCW Wrestling was released in the United States at the... If you're thinking,
Hey, that looks like the exact same game.
well, you're mostly right. Well, the two games appear to be the exact same. They're not quite identical twins. The main difference comes into play when you look at the roster. Huge names in Japan like Giant Baba and Antonio Inoki are nowhere to be seen, replaced instead by famous American grapplers like Ric Flair, Sting, and Lex Luger. The only two superstars featured in both Superstar Pro Wrestling and WCW Wrestling are Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal, who happen to be featured on the cover of the WCW wrestling game. Let's get one thing straight up front. This is the history of WCW video games, but when this first game dropped in April of 1990, I was 8 months away from being born. When we get into the Sony PlayStation side of things, I can start to share with you my personal memories and stories of what it was like growing up with the WCW games. But with the first few entries, we're going to be a little lacking on the personal side of things, but it'll be worth the wait, I promise. Right off the bat, we've got some voiceovers that actually sound pretty damn good for the NES.
World Championship Wrestling!
Even if the crowd noise immediately after sounds like an old toy that has nearly dead batteries in it. This is the NES, so our options are obviously limited, but it's pretty damn cool considering the timing of the release that we've got a choice between wrestlers are. Obviously, everybody knows Ric Flair and Sting, but how about...
No, I don't. I know who Hulk Hogan is.
No disrespect intended to any of these legends, of course. I'm just saying, most of the in-game
What?
sprites do represent their own counterparts really accurately. Sting is spot
The first two. Ready, set. Yeah, and Ric Flair. I only know one from WCW. Hulk Hogan. That's the only one I know.
There are 8 moves to choose from, and it's up to us to map one to each area.
Salino, honey, nani no.
Four moves, dude?
But take a second to remember that outside of the D-pad, the NES... Squared circle. And this is where the limitations of having only 2 real buttons starts to rear its ugly head. B punches and A kicks. Landing 3 or 4 kicks will stun your opponent, allowing you to pull off one of the 4 moves you selected earlier. With screaming opponent. Even the running bulldog is spot out. These animations are really important. What you probably couldn't help but notice was the screaming red bar that explodes from the bottom of the screen every time you perform a grapple.
People say Hawkins is close. They're not way off. The war is coming. We can't win this war.
Any wrestling match.